Welcome to the Authentically Feminine podcast, where we dive deep into all things feminine energy, dating, mindset, confidence, and stepping into the best, most authentic version of you. I'm your host, Darya, founder of The Wealthy Wonder Woman, and I'm so glad that you're here. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and let's dive in. Before we get into it, I just want to let you know that because International Women's Day is coming up this Saturday, March the 8th, I'm offering something very special for you girls to say thank you. I am giving an entire 25% off of any of my products. So you can use the code MARCH25 and get 25% off everything. It is going to end on this Saturday, so March the 8th at midnight. So take advantage of it while you can. If you want to learn how to become magnetic, stop chasing men, become that woman that is in her feminine energy, in her feminine flow, that easily and effortlessly draws men in, and you want to just find the partner that is meant for you, and you want to learn how to talk to men, how to flirt, how to date, all of this is available in my courses and programs. Just go to wealthywonderwoman.com and you can use the code MARCH25 upon checkout and you will get the discount. Remember, it's going to end this Saturday at midnight, so don't miss out. This is the perfect chance to change your love life. And now back to the podcast episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Authentically Feminine podcast. I'm your host, Darya. I'm so glad that you're here. Today, we are talking about 3 major reasons that life just feels difficult. You feel like you're hustling, you're grinding, you're doing way too much effort and getting very little in return. Okay, so the first reason that life feels difficult is because you have not learned the lesson yet. So if there is a pattern that is showing up in your life over and over and over again, it means that the universe or God or whoever you believe in wants you to move out of that, wants you to grow out of that, and you are not learning the lesson, which is why the universe, God, keeps bringing the same situations to you because it wants you to grow. It wants you to learn the lesson so that you can move past that block and you can grow into a better version of yourself. Because the universe wants you to expand, wants you to be the best version of who you could possibly be. And so everything that is happening to you is actually happening for you. It is happening because there is something that you need to overcome in order to move closer to that ideal best version of yourself, where you end up realizing your potential. And so the reason that things keep happening that are unfavorable is because the universe is redirecting you. It's trying to course correct you so that you stay on the right path. So, for example, if you have a tendency to attract emotionally unavailable men, and it's just a pattern, or you tend to attract narcissists, it's a pattern that shows up in your life over and over and over again, or you keep meeting men that are exactly the same but in different bodies. I know some of you know what I'm talking about. So if this keeps happening, then it means that there is some sort of inner work that you need to do. There is something that you have not caught on to yet. There is a lesson there. And until you learn that lesson, the universe or God is going to continue sending those types of people to you so that you can finally learn how to set boundaries with these people, so that you can finally learn that you are worth so much more than being in a toxic relationship, so that you can finally learn that you are worth being loved and being cherished and being with somebody who wants all of you. And so that lesson is typically something that is not coming from the outside. It is typically something that is on the inside. It's something about your inner state that you need to work on. That is what the lesson usually is whenever you're facing a challenge. It's something to do with what's happening on the inside. And it's funny because I hear from women all the time that there are no good men in my city, they're all taken, there's no good men out there, like the men are the problem. And yes, sometimes the men can be the problem, but the truth is that most of the time, you have to do the inner work. It starts with you. It is something within you that needs to change. It's not something out there. And so what happens once you start doing the inner work on yourself and you learn to love yourself, you learn to set those boundaries, you learn to see things from a different perspective, you will find that there are so many good men around you. You just did not see them before. So the reason that the challenges continue to show up in your life is because there is a lesson that you need to learn. And in order to grow and to move to that next stage and become that better version of yourself and attract that better relationship or that better opportunity, you need to grow on the inside. Okay, on to number 2. And if you're wondering why the background suddenly changed, if you're watching on YouTube, my baby girl was sleeping and she ended up waking up right after I started filming the podcast episode. So I had to stop, and now fast forward a few hours later and she's sleeping, everyone's sleeping, and I've got this room to myself, and here we go. It's not as nice and bright because I actually love filming in my kitchen because it's super bright and there's natural lighting and it's just the best. But right now it's pitch black outside, so I don't have that luxury. But anyway, I've got my space here, which is great too. Okay, so let's move on. So number 2. The second reason that things feel difficult is because you are hustling and grinding and taking action out of force and control. When you are trying to force things to happen, maybe it's with your career, with your business, with your relationships, with money, anything in your life, when you try too hard, right? You push forward. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. When you try too hard, especially when it's something that's not meant for you, what happens is you get the opposite reaction. The person pulls back. The situation falls through, right? Like something doesn't work out. And so it's really important to understand that the reason that things don't work out a lot of the time is because we are pushing and trying so hard, and we are in this energy of really needing something to happen. And anytime you're in this forceful energy of needing something to happen, the universe is going to pull back, and it's going to be very difficult for you to get a certain result in your life. So a few months ago, I went through a really tough time because there were some changes on social media, on Instagram, and I just wasn't getting as much reach as I typically did. And I was like hustling and grinding on social media because I wanted to get more views, I wanted to get more reach, and I was pushing, and I was posting like 3-4 times a day, and it didn't feel inspiring to me. I wasn't taking inspired action. I was taking action from this feeling of like, I need to get this done. I need to get to a result. It's almost like I was operating from my ego. And eventually, I just literally crashed. Like my brain shut down, my body was exhausted because I also have I had a 1-year-old to take care of during the day, and which is really time consuming. So I was exhausted because of that. But I was doing so much and being in that forceful masculine energy that I didn't realize that I needed a break. And I needed to allow that feminine energy, a part of myself, to run the show. I needed to relax and stop hustling and stop grinding because I didn't get the results that I wanted anyway. And that was when I had this really important realization that just because you are pushing really hard and you're trying really hard and you're doing, doesn't mean that you are going to get the results. And a lot of the time, it's quite the opposite. You don't need to hustle and grind your way to get results. And this is something that I learned the hard way. And I learned this many, many times throughout my business and throughout my life because there's always ups and downs. And it's another example of really learning the lesson because when you see that you are pushing, and you're not getting the results, you kind of start to question yourself and say, okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong, right? Maybe something's off here. And so this is why your feminine energy is so important, because you need your feminine energy in order to create, in order to be that best version of yourself, in order to be creative and authentic and playful and loving, and in order to be at that high vibration. And so anytime you try to force things, a lot of the time it's not going to work, because you are in that masculine energy. What does work is inspired action. So the thing that I do differently now is I only take action when I feel inspired to do so, when I have the energy, when I have the ideas, when I feel creative. That is when I take action. In the past, I would sit there and say, okay, I need to make a post, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. But I didn't feel like I had the energy or the drive. And because of that, it didn't feel authentic. But now, when I feel inspired to, and I really want to get a message across, or I really want to record a podcast episode, or I have this like amazing idea, that is when I have the energy inside of me. That is when I am in my feminine energy. I am in that high vibrational energetic state, and I can give that to you guys. I can give that to other people because I feel resourceful. And I realize that that is the best place to take action from. To take action from an inspired and creative state. And that is what actually works. That is what gets results. Because the energy that you put out into the world is what other people feel. And so anytime you're taking action that is inspired, coming from an open, loving place, that is amazing. That is when you are going to see the results that you want in your life. And anytime you try to do something because you feel like you need to, or you have to, or you're fearful, or you want to control something or someone, that is when you know you're going to be making the wrong move. Let's go to the example of dating. A lot of women, when they start dating a man, and then things get a little bit, hot and cold, a little bit uncertain, and they realize that they really like a guy, and they want to text him, right? Like, the reason that you want to text the guy is most of the time it's because you want to take something from him. You want his validation. You want his reassurance, because you don't know what he's doing and it's driving you crazy. You need that reassurance and validation, and you want to see how he's going to communicate with you and jump to your own conclusions, right? And just figure out, is he still interested? Like, what is he up to? Does he still like me? And I don't blame you for feeling that, but the problem is that that action that you take is coming from a place of needing to control the situation. It's not coming from a place of, okay, I'm just going to put that out there. I'm just going to text him, or I'm just going to say, hey, how's your day? Hope your day's going great. It's not coming from a place of like, okay, I'm going to give you something and I'm not expecting something in return. And that is the right energy to be in. And this is what I teach you in my course, Magnetically Feminine Boundaries, is there's over 100 scripts and phrases, sample phrases that you can use to set boundaries, to check in on a man, to build more interest, to be flirtatious, to be playful. And one of the things I talk about is that the importance of being in this energy of not expecting something from him in return. So if you're going to text him, then you have to ensure that you're coming from a place of like, hey, I'm just putting this out there just because I was thinking of you, not because I want something from you in return. And it's very important to do this. You do need to be able to tap into your own self-awareness, tap into how you feel, and ask yourself why you want to reach out to him. And so if you're dating a guy and you're feeling really anxious, the best thing you can do is live your life and go do something else to distract yourself, so you're not thinking about him, but you're doing things that make you feel good. And if you suddenly think of him or you feel inspired to text him, then you send him a quick text. But it's going to sound very different than if you're sitting at home and you're bored and you're anxious and you're thinking about him and you're sending him a text saying, hey, how are you? Like, People can always feel your energy. And so the internal state that you are in when you decide to reach out to a man is extremely important. You don't want to be reaching out to him when you are just looking for validation, or when you're just, you're feeling down or you're feeling lonely. You do not want to communicate with a man from that place, especially in the early stages of dating. And if you really want to learn how to talk to a man in those early stages, how to keep that high energy going and create interest and build momentum and build that emotional connection, check out the course Magnetically Feminine Boundaries. There's over 100 scripts, sample phrases that I've literally prepared after going on over 100 dates with men. I've tested all of this stuff out. My clients have got amazing results after using these. So if that is something that you feel that you're struggling with or you would like some help with, definitely check out the course Magnetically Feminine Boundaries. To sum this up, number 2 was about taking action from inspiration, from creativity, and from a place of authenticity rather than a place of force. It's like there's the saying, don't work hard, work smart. I believe in this so much because it's so important to come from that feminine energy, best version of yourself when you are doing something. And the results you are going to get are going to be exponentially better than if you are sitting and hustling and grinding and trying to connect with a man or trying to move the needle forward in your business from a place of lack. You need to have that, get into that feminine energy state, high vibrational state where you feel good first, and then results will come. And so if things feel very difficult, there's a good chance that you are doing too much of the wrong thing and you are trying to force things where they're not meant to be forced. And this ties in with number 3, which I sort of leaked into number 3, but it's about trusting and leaning back. Being in your feminine energy is largely about trusting the universe, trusting that the man that is meant for you is not going to disappear on you. It's about trusting that that opportunity or that business or that whatever, if it's meant for you, it's going to wait for you. And one of the traits of feminine energy is really about trust, leaning back, and allowing things to flow into your life. It's about attracting rather than forcing. And so if you want to attract into your life, then you have to sometimes do nothing, right? If nothing's working, do nothing. And so sometimes you have to just lean back and trust the process. Trust that things are going to work out just as they should. Because everything that's happening is happening for you. Everything that's happening in your life is happening for a reason. And you cannot force anything that isn't meant for you. And you cannot force anything that you are not ready for. So back to the first point, if you have not learned the lesson that you are lovable, that you need to put yourself first and stop giving men the attention that you need to give to yourself, and you are not ready for that man, that high value man that is going to take care of you, cherish you, love you, be an incredible partner to you. You haven't learned the lesson, and so you're going to keep attracting men that are below him, men that are below your potential. So you need to learn that lesson, break through that, move into that higher version of who you are meant to be, and that is when you're going to attract a man who is on the same level as you. Leaning back and trusting the process is also part of it. Understanding and knowing that whatever is showing up in your life is meeting you, is at the same level as you. And so you have to trust and know that things are working out for you just as they are meant to. And you cannot force your way into a man's heart that just doesn't see your value. You just can't do it. But if it's the right man, you can definitely build that connection. You can definitely enhance, make him even more interested, create an incredible first impression, get deep into his heart, form that strong bond. And so maybe you can relate to this. Maybe things feel really difficult for you right now, very challenging, because you keep repeating the same patterns. Maybe this is why you are stuck attracting the same types of men, or you are stuck wondering why you are single. Maybe you are trying to force things too hard and you're getting exhausted and burnt out rather than playing, being in your feminine energy, enjoying your life and taking breaks and allowing yourself to relax when you need to. I hope this inspired you. I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful. Leave me a rating, leave me a comment. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. I will see you in the next episode of the Authentically Feminine podcast. Bye. Before you go, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Authentically Feminine podcast. I hope you're inspired. I hope you received tons of value. And if you want to dive deeper and you'd like to be coached by me, you are more than welcome to reach out to me at hello@wealthywonderwoman.com, or you can go to my website, wealthywonderwoman.com. I am here to support you. And my final reminder for you is that you are incredible, you are radiant, and you are so worthy. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.